Welcome to 20 Minutes with the Kings. I'm your host, Brother Baruch.
And I'm Brother Andrew.
And today's topic, we want to get to the lesson. Today we're going to call the lesson, Is God Racist? We're going to go into this topic and discuss in the Bible, is God racist? And we're going to talk about racism for a minute. So first of all, we want to get a definition of racism.
The definition of racism is prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular racial or ethnic group.
Mm-hmm.
Typically one that is a minority or marginalized, a program to combat racism. Okay.
So racism is pretty much a systematic system to marginalize or antagonize a certain person or group of people. Marginalize means to separate. Antagonize means to pretty much intimidate, oppress, you know. So racism is pretty much the mistreatment or the unjust treatment of a person or people. So that's the definition of racism, all right? So let's see what God feels, how God feels about people in general, how he feels about his creation, because God created everything, like I said, everything God created. So let's get into how God feels about his creation. Let's go, you know where we're going. Second Ezra, because God gives you his feelings on his creation. When I say his creation, to the things that he made, God tells you in the Bible how he feels, and particularly in the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 5 and verse 23, he tells you how he feels about things that he created. Okay? So 2 Ezra chapter 5, verse
23.
Okay.
The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 5 and verse 23. And said, O Lord, that bearest rule.
Because God bear rule over everything. Everything. Come on.
Of every wood of the earth, and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee one only vine.
So God chose one vine of all the trees. Okay, come on.
And of all lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one put.
So when he said God had chosen one tree of the vine and all the lands, he chose one pit. So when you read in the Bible where it says, was God so loved the world, right? Because he created the world. But yes, he loved the world, but it's a specific world that he loves. Just like it's a specific vine. Just like it's a specific land. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna read it. Come on.
And verse 24, and of all the land of the whole world.
So just to clarify, that world is not everybody and everything on the world, because we're reading the particular things of this world that God created that he loved. So of all the land, one pit. Okay, read.
Of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one put. And of all the flowers thereof, one lily.
Of all the flowers, one lily. All right, come on.
And of all the depths of the sea, thou hast filled thee one river.
One river in which you love, which is the Jordan River. Come on.
And of all building city, thou hast hallowed Zion unto thyself.
Jerusalem is the city that God chose to himself. Come on.
And of all the fowls that are created, thou hast named thee one dove.
Of all the birds, God said, I love the dove. Come on.
And of all the cattle that are made, thou hast provided thee one sheep.
Of all the cattle, one sheep. God loved the sheep. Come on.
And among all the multitude of people.
All the what?
All the multitude of people.
All the multitude of people. Of all the people. Come on.
Thou hast gotten thee one people.
How many people?
One people.
One people. Come on.
And unto this people.
Unto this people. Come on.
Whom thou lovest, thou givest a law that is approved of all.
So when you read in the book of the first 5 books, we know that God gave his laws to the Israelites. And the Israelites are this people that God chose. All right? So from there, we're going to go to this book. We're going to get into it because now where we're getting into the confusion at is who is God's people? Because that's the topic. Who is God's people? Right? So in this book, we're going to get into where these terms come from. Where does the division come from? Because in history, wherever you have a victor, to the victor goes the spoils. So whoever wins in the war is the ones who writes history. So therefore, we have confusion. Therefore, we have confusion. We have people in certain positions with power, and they rewrite history to where it lines up to what they want to believe or their perception of things. And before we get into this, let's read Job 9 and 24, and then we're going to get into this book. We're going to read Job chapter 9 and verse 24, because we're talking about power. We're talking about power. In order for somebody to be racist, you have to have power to be racist. Otherwise, it's just prejudice or dislike. It's not, you got to exercise racism, you have to have power. You have to have power. All right?
The book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. Mm-hmm. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
God said, I'm giving the earth into the hand of the wicked. Come on.
He covered the faces of the judges thereof.
And God says, the wicked covereth the faces of the judges thereof. So the wicked is in power. The wicked have power to exercise racism. And what type of racism does the wicked exercise? They do what? They cover
the faces of the judges thereof.
So the wicked covers the face of the judges. The judges are Christ. Christ is the chief judge. And the Israelites, according to the prophets. There you go. There you go. So the judges are the prophets, and the judges is Christ, and the Israelites. That's who the judges are. So now, 20th century, speed it up. We got questions about who are the Jews. Okay, it said the wicked, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and he covered the faces of the judges thereof. Meaning the wicked is the one who's stealing the identity and covering the faces of the judges. The wicked is the ones who are in power. Last time I checked, you got a certain people with power, and you got a certain people with no power, no might. Because that's the curse in Deuteronomy 28 that was God be putting on God's people.
No might in my hand.
That's right. That's right. That was it on there.
If not, where and who is he?
So if not, God said, if the wicked ain't covering the face of my son and my people, who is he? If the wicked of the earth, just look at it. But now to describe who the wicked is, God tells you the earth is given to them. So the wicked is those people in power. This race of people with power to exercise racism, power and money to shut people up, to shut people down when they speak against the system that they put in place. Because you gotta think about what's going on today. You got brothers being fired only because they're speaking against the truth. The truth. Because if it's not true, let's go into the book and debate. You got to prove that you saying that you the Jews.
All things.
You can prove all things. There you go, brother. There you go. Let's get that. Let's get it. Let's get it. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 20. Let's get that. Because what they call it, the burden of proof. The burden of proof, it rests on you, because you're saying that you are the real Jews, and you got brothers out here saying that they the real Jews. And so they coming out with books and facts. So where's your books and your facts? Because the power that you have is the media. The power that you have is money. So you can shut people up and have the power to push forth your lies. Come on.
Ready? The book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5 and verse 21. Prove all things.
Come on.
Hold fast that which is good.
Prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. We know that this Bible is good. So you got to go into this Bible and prove your cause. You got to go into the Bible and prove that Jesus Christ is who you say he is. You got to go in there and prove that. If you're the Jews, you got to go in here and prove that into that which is good, which is the Bible. You got to be able to go into the Bible and prove these things. Not on a TV show. Not in articles. Not in on this stuff that you just coming up with. You know what I'm saying? You got to prove that in the Holy Bible. All right?
Not on your own thoughts.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. Not how you feel.
Yeah.
Not how you feel. All right? So let's get into the book now. Let's go to the book.
Okay, the name of the book is White Fragility.
Uh-huh.
Why is it so hard for white people to talk about racism?
Let's see. Why is it so hard for white people to talk about racism? Why is it? Come on.
Okay.
Is it because they benefit from it? We're going to see. Well, let's put it out there, but we're going to see. Let's read.
The beneficiary of slavery.
The benefactories, what did it say?
The beneficiary.
Factories.
The benefactories.
The people who
of
benefit.
slavery.
There you go. The people who benefit from slavery. Come on.
Segregation.
Mm-hmm. So the biggest who benefit from segregation.
And mass incarceration.
And what?
And mass incarceration.
Because once you're locked up, you are become a slave again, according to the 13th Amendment. So who benefit from slavery and mass incarceration? It's definitely not the black man. I'm gonna tell you that now. Come on. Or the Hispanics or the Native American Indians. Come on.
Have produced racist idea of black people being best suited for or deserving of the confine of slavery.
What are the confines of slavery? They saying black people suited for prison and slavery. Come on.
Segregation.
And segregation, that's what they do. They segregate us off into housing projects and ghettos and things like that. Come on.
Or the jail cell.
Or the jail cell. Come on.
Consumers of these racist ideas have been led to believe there's something wrong with black people.
So they say something wrong with black people. And according to God, the only thing wrong with black people is we wicked and we break God's commandments. So God put us in this position. Come on.
And not the policy that have enslaved, oppressed, and confined so many black people.
So it's not white supremacy. He's saying it's black people's fault. And it is for breaking the commandments. Come on, but it said that's why I say the earth is given unto the hands of the wicked. It was given. It was taken from the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, and it was given unto the people who got it now. Come on.
Kennedy goes on to argue that if we truly believe that all humans are equal,
so it's like they say in Christianity, because there was an article that says the white Christians are the most racist. Why? Because they uphold the changing of the color of Jesus Christ. White Christians teach that Jesus Christ is white. They teach that the Israelites is white or Caucasian or whatever. And they teach that God's laws is done away with and so forth. Come on.
Then disparity in condition can only be the result of our systemic discrimination.
So read that again, Kennedy what?
Kennedy goes on to argue that if we truly believe that all humans are equal.
So if the people in power truly believe that all human beings are equal, come on, as they say in their Christian church, come on.
Then disparity in condition can only be the result of systemic discrimination.
Now it must be systemic discrimination then. Because why, if everybody are equal like they teach us in the Christian church, why is the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans still on the bottom? Why are they still on the bottom? All right, come on.
The perception of race.
Now this is the perception of race. This is the creation of where race comes from the ideology of race. We're going to get into where it comes from. Okay? Come on.
Race is an evolving social idea that was created.
It was what?
That was created.
Come on.
To legitimize racial inequality and protect white advantage.
And to protect what?
And to protect white advantage.
So the concept of race, meaning black and white, we understand what we're getting into. We're getting into the terms black and white. Black and white. And she's going to tell us where and what time frame that these terms was coming into place. So that's what we're getting into. So let's read it again from the top so we can help our brothers and sisters out.
The perception of race.
Uh-huh.
Race is an evolving social idea that was created to legitimize racial inequality.
So it's evolving, meaning it's ongoing. It's still evolving to legitimize racial inequality. Inequality. So these terms, black and white, was made to legitimize racial inequality. Come on.
And protect white advantage.
And to protect white advantage. Come on.
The term white first appeared in colonial law in the late 1600s.
So the term white came about in the 1600s. Where was we? We were slaves. Yeah. We were slaves. Come on.
By 1790, people were asked to claim their race on the census, and by 1825, the perceived degree of blood determined who would be classified as Indian. From the late 1800s through the early 20th century, as wave of immigrants entered the United States, the concept of white race was solidified.
So they said they had to put on paper, you white, you black. Nope. You white,
make it legal.
You black. Yep, it's legal. It's legal. What are you gonna call yourself? Nope. You white, all of us, white people, we white. Everybody else, you black. You black. And look at the concepts of the word white. In their eyes mean pure, holy, clean. And the concept of black, what is that? Ignorant, dumb, bliss. So, this is where these terms come from. It's telling you that it's a systematic system of inequality set up in the 1600s while these early white Christians, they set this up, along with the religion that was handed down from us that Jesus Christ was a white man. But when you actually read the Bible, it'll tell you clearly, not just that Jesus Christ was black, is black, and are going to stay black, that the Israelites were black people also. It tells you that in the Holy Bible. That's why we read prove all things. So it's telling you that the system of black and white, the names, the terms that we put with racism today, was set up in the 1600s, solidified in the 1725, and legitimized on paper in the 1800s. Meaning that you had to subscribe with your right hand, you had to write it on paper. Classify yourself as this. You know, you that, you that, you that. Now, when everybody see the so-called white people, now we're going to so-called because now we know where these terms come from. It's a systematic system of racism. The so-called white people, we know why these terms were set up, so they can have dominance over every other race.
Yeah. we almost missed one there. That's probably during the same time when they determined the degree of bloodline. Determined, like for instance, if you got 1/3 blood,
right,
or black blood or white blood, they determine who you are by whatever blood they think that's in your body.
Exactly. Whatever blood they think that's in your body. Yeah. Right. Whatever. So they deem in turn who's going to be who. You know. So they look. You don't pass. No.
It's not playing God's in.
Exactly. All these stuff was put upon us by our slave masters, brothers and sisters. We're reading about it. We didn't write this book. We just read it. So anybody try to say we racist, we just reading. We know how to read now. Okay, come on.
When slavery in the United States was abolished in 1865.
So-called, because this system was already being put in place, so if it ever was abolished, you already going to be classified as black. Meaning nothing. You're never going to be nothing in society. Because at the same time when they was building this up, they was already considering us to be, 3/5 of a man. You're not even a whole man. Now you're just going to be test subjects for us to practice our biological warfare tactics. We're going to put diseases into you. We're going to practice birth control with your kids and how we can kill y'all because we don't want y'all reproducing. And we got other books. When you got to read, brothers and sisters. This book right here is called Killing the Black Body. And it goes into the birth control systems that they put up. Dorothy Roberts is called Race, Reproduction, and the Meaning of Liberty. Meaning liberty to white folks, the so-called white folks, because this book entails how they would systematically kill our babies. And that's going on today. That's why we get our abortion clinics. 17 million black babies have been aborted since 1970. Read about it. Y'all gotta read. Okay.
When slavery in the United States was abolished in 1865, whiteness remained profoundly important as legalized racist exclusion and violence against African Americans continues.
Stop. Start that over again. Read that real slow. I hope they heard that.
When slavery in the United States was abolished in 1865.
So when slavery was so-called abolished in 1865, this is what happened. Come on.
Whiteness remained profoundly important.
Meaning that they got to keep pushing this whiteness. We're going to keep pushing white is right. And black is nothing. Come on.
As legalized racist exclusion.
Y'all got to read the terms. Legalized, brothers and sisters. We have no rights. This stuff was legalized. Profoundly pushed even more. Going to the next level to push it. And legalized. Come on.
Racist exclusion. And violence against African Americans.
And violence. This justified them being called white and us being called black. It justified the mistreatment of us. It justified this, the Willie Lynch letter. It justified feeding our babies to alligators. It justified sticking all kind of stuff inside our sister's womb to kill the babies. It justified whipping us in our back. It justified tearing us into pieces with horses. They did it with horses. They would tie a slave to a horse and split him in two. They would tie us with chains onto their pickup trucks and drag us around town. They would burn us. And today, they shoot us in the street to justify their whiteness. Just like it says in Zechariah, whose oppressors, who possessors, slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
And violence against African Americans continue in new forms. All the way up until today. Come on. To have citizenship.
Because citizenship going into our right to vote. How come we gotta every so often we gotta recertify and have rights to vote and all of that stuff? We don't have no right. It don't matter anyway, because their system already put in place, so our votes don't count.
Matter.
In the book of Deuteronomy 17, God said don't vote anyway. How you gonna vote for which slave master gonna rule over you? All of them gonna treat you as a slave. It don't matter. You're still a slave. We are still slaves. Come on.
And the right citizenship in blood. You had to be legally classified as white.
You had to be legally classified as white. So they were imbued, meaning that that's the way to go. It was pushed on all of the white people. Make sure you subscribe with your right hand that you are white, so you won't be classified as black or classified as slave or classified as the bottom of society and things of that nature. So that's what they was doing. That's why they came up with the term black and white. So that's where it comes from. So to understand, for somebody to be racist, you have to have power to push your racist ideology or your racist doctrine or your racist philosophies or your racist laws. You have to have power to push these things. Without power, you cannot be racist, brothers and sisters. You can't be racist. Without power to be racist, it's just a prejudice or a dislike. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's food that we dislike. There's some people that just get on our nerves. But but in order to exercise racism, you have to have power.
Where's your white voice? Where's your white voice? Racist. Yeah, you got it. White power. Yeah, there you go. White power. You